Today I'm going to talk about a guide for independent freelancer for hard news and soft news because I know that's a very large topic when we talk about parachute journalism. So I only talk about soft news and hard news. So it's the catalog of this guy. Chapter 1 is more like a timeline. Chapter 2 are divided into that two types of news. So chapter 1, when you are on your way, you need to prepare some supplements. Like if you are going to somewhere religious, for women, wear a you might wear a scarf that covering your head. So the second one is do not accept free accommodation because it's neutral thing. So the second is when you arrive, leave your stereo behind. It's because that you had a limit of time reporting in that area. So if you are under pressure of due time, you might make some mistake by your stereotype. And second one is always listen to your fixer because the fixer is local. So I think you better listen to them. And the third one is when you finish reporting, um, you need to make sure some photo or some video, where do they come from? Do you need to verify or if you have the copyright or not? So chapter 2, hard news, reporting conflicts. Um, Reporting conflicts, you need to be sure understand the contents of the conflicts. So it's like you need to leave your stereotype behind. And the second one is very useful when you decided to use a military reporter source because it's about a neutral thing. So the first thing is clearly mark the time and place of filming because you need to make sure that you do not misleading your readers. And the fourth one is it's always about the neutral thing. And the five is I think that's a question for everyone because there's a conflict, so there is a lot of violence. So you need to ask yourself, do you really need to use a lot of picture? Because I think it would cause trauma. So the last thing is if you decide you need to use picture, so you need to handle the traumatic photos very carefully, like blur those images. So the second one is reporting natural disaster or accidents. Um, the first is understand the focus of the reporters. You need to think of the point, like when you're reporting a natural disaster or accident, you don't need to report the family. And second one is handle pictures carefully. So accident and natural disaster always bring trauma. So please blur the pictures or videos. The third one is be cautious about using unverified first look. Okay, it's in social media. I think the if something urgent happen, I think the first I think the first place for a journalist to find out what happened is always the social media. But you need to know that there's a lot of fragment information, so you need to verify it. It's like it's the information like only the part of fact you might miss leading the people. So be very careful when using this fragment information. The fourth one is do not take photos of victims belonging up close. So imagine if you are in a airplane crash on the ground, and you were sent there. I think you'd better shoot the video or photos from a very far distance. I think you don't need to shoot the belonging of them. The fifth one is avoid photoing places that cause second trauma. Um, yeah, you need to take a look, or you need to shoot the video from a very far distance. You find someone, and please do not go to the hospital to find someone that are injured, especially when their families will die in the accident. Please do not ask him question. So yeah. The last one is be careful about describing whether a person was rescued or killed. I remember a case when back in 2019 when Corona just outbreak in Wuhan, and there's a doctor called Li Wenliang. The people of China think he was a whistleblower because he said there's a coronavirus in Wuhan, but he said that before the official announced that. So the officials was very unhappy, and then he punished Li Wenliang. And then unfortunately, Li Wenliang got affected by COVID-19. And then there's a lot of media was sent to the hospital where Li Wenliang was staying there. And they know Li Wenliang were dying. So they all just doing a live broadcast outside the hospital. And they announced Li Wenliang were dead, but he actually didn't die. So it was a huge scandal of the social media, of Chinese social media. The third one is reporting election. I think reporting election is please do not wear any political party logo at work. Okay, the one and the second one is about neutrality. The third one is do not use interest to obtain coverage. Like if your family or your friends are working for the election, you use the relationship to gain some coverage. You don't know there's real or not. You just like useful dumb. Okay, the last one is about neutrality always. When reporting protests, I think the fourth one is always about for your safety, because for parachute journalists, you reporting protests is a very dangerous thing for you to being there, especially when you are not a local. So you need to wear a test card and do not carry weapon. And you might need misunderstanding. The last one is about soft news. I know there's a lot of people very concerned about parachute journalists. Is like because they are lost their neutrality. Maybe they are very they have the stereotype. So try to use cross-border journalism as the reporting method. Because you have plenty of time. It's not like hard news. Hard news, you need to chase the due time. So soft news, I think you have more time to do it on a topic. You don't need to rush. So I think it's better than the older way to do it. And you of course need to mention everyone who has contributed fairly. And then undercover interviews carefully. I think undercover interviews is a question that people concerned about parachute journalism. Like you were sent to somewhere else to be an undercover. I think it's a very sensitive topic because it's about sexual or introduce like induced privacy. In China, there was a case, a journalist find an exam substitute. So it was illegal, of course, but the people think it is right for the journalist to doing this. But a lot of people think the opposite way. So yeah, that is the question. And the last one is reference. Okay, thank you. Bye.